So now let's talk about the doo-doos.
What do we do? All right. So, number one, keep your driving record clean. Um, there are all kinds of reasons, obviously, to keep your driving record clean. But even if you do, get that one-off kind of, you got a ticket, you drifted a little bit faster, than you meant to. You got a ticket for speeding, or you rolled through a stop sign, whatever the case may be. Go to court for that. Don't just ignore it and figure it's not a big deal and let it hit your record and it won't have any impact. It might or it might not, and it probably will, but it might be dismissed if you go to court. And I'll be honest, I actually had to go to court for speeding not too long ago. But I went to court. My ticket was dismissed. Thank you. But it wasn't just mine. I watched person after person after person after
Oh,
person walk up there and get their tickets dismissed because of what the judge was saying was, you have a clean record. I don't see that you've been in court here, on something like this in 10 years, 15 years. We're going to dismiss this, which was exactly the case for me, and so I just tell people all the time, go to court. Just take that. I know it takes some time, but take the time because it's worth it.
absolutely. And you have so many reasons why you should take the time to do that, right, Christy? Because the ticket, you will get a large surcharge for that.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, carrier look at that and penalize you a lot more heavily than if you were to have an at-fault accident. Because the truth is, when you get into an accident, it's called an accident, right? It happens.
Right.
Every now and then, everybody gets into an accident, you know. But a ticket is something that you can control. So a lot of carriers will look at that and say, wow, Christy is not a careful driver.
Right.
So
Right.
she's going to get penalized for that. And another reason why it's worth it to show up to court is because if you get dismissed, that's great. Your rate's not going to change. But if that ticket stay because you didn't care to show up to take care of it and it stays, it's going to stay on your record for 3 years.
3 years. Yep.
But that's when it's impacting your policy. In reality, that ticket will show up on your driving record for at least 5 to 7 years, depending
Yep.
on which carrier you work with. So it's really worth it to take. How long did that take time out of your day, Christy?
I mean, travel time and sitting there and everything, I probably spent 3 hours, away from work. So it was 3 hours I'll never get back. I saw some interesting things, but in the end, I saved my rate by using that time. Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another thing that we talk a lot about, Christy, is ask about all the discounts, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. From, bundling and safe driving, defensive driving, telematics is the one I really like to encourage people to use. Guys, it's the way that we're going in the future, and I always say, and so for those non-insurance speakers, right? Telematics is your whatever that your carrier is using to monitor your speed, your phone use while you're driving the car, hard braking, things like that. Lots of these things operate today just off of having your mobile phone in the car with you. And, I hear it all day long. I don't want anybody tracking me like that. I'm not going to give anybody access to my movement like that. They're tracking you anyway. You're carrying
Unfortunately,
you're
yes.
carrying a phone around, you're getting tracked. I mean, it's happening, so you might as well get the discount for it. And it can be a big discount. So I really like to encourage people to use that one. Along with, things like defensive driving, good grades if you're a student or if you have a young driver on your policy. That's another reason to encourage them to make good grades because those typically come with a good discount on the policy.
Absolutely. And I want to drive home a point on the defensive driving classes too, which I don't know if this is common knowledge for a lot of drivers out there. Um, for parents, if you have young driver, I know the class is not cheap. It's another expense that you have to worry about. But I promise you, it is absolutely worth it. Not only that that class is going to last you 3 years worth of discounts.
Yep.
But it's also going to help, make sure that your young driver is aware of all the safety driving behaviors or tips that, you can build a good, clean foundation that way. And not only the discount, guys, because statistically, more than likely, a young person will get into a car accident within the first 3 years of them driving. And if you think their rate to have them on your policy is high now with a clean record, I don't think you'll be very happy if they were to have a speeding ticket or an car accident, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it's absolutely worth every penny and time to send your young driver to take the defensive driving class. And then same thing goes with our seniors, right? And I feel bad
Sure.
saying seniors is 55 years and older, but that's usually the standard guideline with a lot of carriers. So make sure you check with your agent, make sure you check with your carrier and see what the guidelines are and see if you even qualify before you spend the money taking the class. But once you take the class, it's going to be good for 3 years, right?
Yeah.
It's going to make
Keep
its
that
money
discount for
back.
3 years. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, yep. And then number three, I think this is a big one
This is
that,
a big
but
one.
but it's a simple one. I think this one you don't even have to like remember what we talk about on this podcast today, and you can manage through it. I'm pretty sure.
I'm
So
pretty sure.
yeah,
Be open and honest on your application. And I feel like I encounter this one, all day, every day, some days too.
yeah.
Um, if you're trying to hide things from your agent, number one, it's going to catch up with you. It's going to, like I said, we're pulling, public information. They're pulling public information when they run your renewal. Your mileage is going to be known. And believe it or not, folks, even the drivers in your household is going to be known. And so, you really just need to be open and honest on your application. Make sure that you're paying the rate that is fair for what you're doing. I know it's expensive, but that is the case. You don't want to get in a situation where you have a claim that's going to be denied because you lied about something on the application and what is actually going on in your household is not covered. Whether that's drivers or where the car is garaged, there's a million things that I feel like people kind of try to skirt around when they're applying for a new policy, but it's really just not worth the little white lies.
And then I think secondly, also, if you're working with a good agent, that actually, that can help make sure that you get the right coverage, at a good price. You also want to make sure your agent understand your situation as well, right, Christy?
Absolutely.
Because a
Yes.
lot of time we can help you set up a policy that works for your situation, that's going to fit your wallet better, that's going to make sure that, we control that risk for you because you work really hard to build your wealth and to
Yeah.
accumulate your asset. You don't want, just because you want to save a little dollar here and there on this policy period, that you leave information out on the table. Because I do believe, and we do this for our customers all the time, um, in our offices, is we want to take the time to understand what you're trying to accomplish and where you are at, and that way we can make the right recommendation and we can look for the best discount and the best setup for you to get you the best rate.
Yeah.
And of course, ultimately it goes back to Christy's point, right, is all insurance really matters is when you need to use it during a claim.
Yep.